winter is coming at Shuuchin Academy. Well, if not the actual winter, at least the winter uniforms it seems. This week, Kaguya-sama upped itself from great to amazing with an absolutely incredible episode all around with different tones. Welcome to Gamerturk Student Council, and let's talk about Kaguya-sama Love is War Season 2 Episode 5. We had 3 skits this week. Well, technically it's 4, but I tend to combine skits if they're literal seamless continuations of each other, so I'm bundling the first 2. With that, the first skit was Shirogane Miyuki's eyes. It was quite the fun one. The first part of it with Shinomiya and Shirogane reminded me of the moon gazing episode, but the other way around, and the second part was neat at giving Kashiwagi a more pronounced screen time from her perspective for once. The second skit was Chika teaching Miyuki how to sing, and this was one of those standout ones I was waiting for since the beginning of Season 2. I absolutely loved it to the core. I was scared it would go the exact same way the incredible volleyball skit went in Season 1, and maybe it did, but the fact that I kept laughing out loud and did not even care about that is probably a good enough sign that this was my favorite this week, and possibly one of my favorites this season, though we still got a whole lot more episodes, so I shouldn't make bold claims like that. The third skit was a tense tease for next week, had its chuckle-worthy moments, but what I enjoyed in this one was not the laughs. It certainly has me on my toes for the next episode. Again, if you want to get the manga, I'll put the link for volume 7 down below. We are still in that one. But without further ado, on to the first skit. Shirogane now has these cute eyes. I mean, do I even need to say anything? He looks absolutely hilarious on his own in the first place. Those eyes seriously don't suit him. I'm with Kaguya on this one. Bring back the intimidating eyes, please. But Shirogane gets hit in the same way Shinomiya did back in the moon gazing episode, a complete opposite reaction to his expectations, stone cold responses from Kaguya, because just like me, she prefers her KAICHO with an icy cold death stare. Well, this leads to panic on Shirogane's side. It leads to a complete devastation on Kaguya, who now feels like asking for advice from Kashiwagi instead, who is, well, she's certainly just as bad at this as Kaguya was. It was neat to see her side of things. Prior to this, she wasn't really a character I cared for at all. Having some personal monologues truly helps enjoying a normally ordinary character. It was nice, yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about it. But while Kashiwagi was nice, I have to say Fujiwara and Ishigami completely stole the show once again. I love how Chika just completely shatters Kaguya with her truly honest answer that she delivers in the most inappropriately cheerful attitude ever, and then Ishigami, I'm I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to laugh at him or cheer for him at this point, but whatever he aimed to do, he fucking nailed it. But then God damn it, that was brilliant. Also, Ayasaga best girl. And on to the next skit. Ah yes, singing an anthem at school. That brings back memories. Back in Turkey, we actually do sing our national anthem at the beginning of every school week, as well as at the end, from elementary school all the way to the end of high school. So can't say I am all that unfamiliar with this shenanigans. Not the bit where someone is completely defunct at singing or anything. My voice is great, thank you very much. But the act of singing together as the entire school. Some sing louder, some sing silent, but goddamn Miyuki, lip syncing. That's where we are, huh? This is my favorite skit. As I said at the beginning, I was scared this would be too similar to the volleyball training from last season, but even if it was, I didn't care. It was absolutely hilarious. We also got our first Okawaii Koto moment this season, which I'm thrilled about. But yeah, what is there to say about this? It's a very simple skit at its core, and I feel like that just makes it better, you know? It's just back-to-back Miyuki being terrible at singing and slowly improving at the expense of Chika's sanity, which, let's be real, Chika is one of the least sane people around in the first place. Bach and Beethoven's portraits were great, the simple narrative and simple jokes were great, the anthem causing Chika to collapse was great. It's kind of embarrassing that I barely had anything noteworthy to say about the skit, but I guess that's a point of its own. I love this one. I have no specific reasons. It was beautiful. The final skit was an obvious tease for next week, but it certainly made things interesting. So far, my overall guess regarding the election narrative was that Shirogane and Ko were simply going to win the student council election because, you know, Kaguya and Miyuki somehow have to be forced into each other, but now, with Iino Miko's promise, it's all up in the air again. No matter which side of the two wins, that status quo will remain, which turned the just a formality Shirogane is gonna win election into something that can go the other way as well without breaking the core plot. Now, Iino Miko can actually win without causing the series to be over, which obviously wasn't ending or anything, but you get what I mean. A viable option was just created for Iino Miko to win and thus gave some proper tension to the election plot, which I genuinely appreciate. Now, the election can be something more than just a source of jokes. Aside from that, which was the topic I was most interested in, if you haven't realized, it was overall a solid skit otherwise as well. The atmosphere was really nicely set, Kaguya's flustered moments were kept in check to overall carry the tension going, and Iino she's still insisting on keeping Chika as the vice president. Jesus Christ. Either way, I'm really looking forward to next week and see the outcome of the election. My favorite moment from this episode was certainly from the music lesson skit.
ちょっとだけ音痴。ちょっとなんですよね。ちょっとだけなんですよね。じゃあ仕方ないですね。私が練習に付き合ってあげます。
What was your favorite moment? Do let me know in the comments. And in addition to that, who do you think is gonna win the election under current circumstances? Iino was downplayed quite a lot in earlier episodes, but it seems like she was confident enough to stand against Kaguya, so do you think it's possible for her to actually win? Either way, you should totally hit that like button and subscribe for more. Links to Kaguya-sama Love is War manga are in the description. Huge thanks to all my patrons and channel members as always, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, stay cool.